Hi there, welcome back to Bernina Club. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make some really handy pouches. You can use these anywhere in your home. I'm making a few for my sewing room. The best thing about these pouches is they are going to hang up and I can see what's in them because there's a plastic ring around here, or it might be wooden, you just never know. I have used an old embroidery hoop inside and on the outside of my fabric bag, and that is what is allowing this to hang up. So I'm going to show you how to make these. They're very, very, very quick and easy. So first thing you need is an old embroidery hoop. They can be plastic, they can be wooden, they can be rubber, any old embroidery hoop. This one is a 4-inch embroidery hoop. Oops, I've touched a button. And what you need 4 bits of fabric, so you need 2 for the outer and 2 for the inner. And the outer fabric I have chosen is this one here, and the inner fabric I have chosen is this one here. So these are an 8.5-inch square, and they have a 1-inch cutout on each side. Now for the outer you need to interface it. So I am using the muslin interfacing. It comes in grey, white and black, or you can use the lightweight giggly. Now these are fusible, they are very, very light and they're perfect for this job, and this is what I use in my collars and my cuffs and my facings of my garments I make. So I have interfaced it on the wrong side of my 2 outers pieces of fabric. So I'm going to simply put my 2 pieces of fabric here, and you can pin it, or you can clip it, or you can just stitch it if you feel confident it's not going to move, but it doesn't hurt to put a clip on both sides just to hold your pieces together. And you can do one of 2 things here. So when I put my foot down, my machine's going to go down, and what I can do, oh, I've touched lots of buttons. What am I doing? I'm just going to clear it. Let's not touch any buttons. I can go forward and I can push my reverse button to go forward and reverse. I can do stitch number 5 and it's going to automatically go forward and reverse. Let's do that one first. So stitch number 5, it's showing a picture here, and I'm going to go sew forward and it's going to sew reverse. And I'm going to use my 1/4-inch foot. I'll take that out actually and put that down there. I'm using I'll go a bit closer, my 1/4-inch foot, and I'm going to sew down. When I get to the bottom of my garment, what I do is I simply push my reverse button once, and it's going to go backwards and forwards. So that's stitch number 5. I can cut with my scissors, or there's something else you can do, so there's lots of choices. On this one I could go to I, and I can push my knot button. Now some of you might have a knot down here. Now what this is going to do is knot my fabric, and then it's going to start sewing. Oh, I've forgotten to take off stitch number 1, haven't I? Now it's going to start sewing. And when I get to the bottom, if I want to, I can push the knot on again, and it's knotted my work off. So you've got so many choices, and of course the normal way to do it, as you would all do it originally, is you would sew and you'd reverse, and then you'd all go all the way down to the end and reverse again. So those days have pretty much passed because these machines are really clever and they can do it all by themselves. So sew down to the other end, and your choice knot, this stays open so you can knot and you can cut. You can also get the machine to automatically knot and cut with your foot, but that's a whole nother lesson. So once you've done this, you simply open up your seams, and you can see you have got your 2 seams. Just put one way and one the other, and you're simply going to sew across a 1/4 inch across the bottom here and sew that end. So remember, you can go forward and reverse, or you can use one of the other functions. So straight across the bottom and reverse and cut. Wait for the machine to stop, wait for the foot to lift up before you take it out. And then this one is exactly the same, so I've got it facing that way. So I'll make sure the bottom one faces the same way. You do not have to press these seams open. And that is how easy it is to make the outer of your bag. So they're just as simple to do that. So now I'm going to turn this bag I've made in with the right side facing out. Very, very quick and easy. Now the lining is going to have an opening to turn it through. So when I'm doing the lining on this foot, I'm just going to show you, and hopefully you can see it clearly. On this foot, this is the 1/4 inch foot, there's a little line going down the side here. When I stitch with my needle in the center and I run my fabric along that line, it's going to do a 3mm seam. It's really good when you're wanting to stay stitch something. So I'm going to put that foot back on and I'm going to line my fabric up with that edge, and I will do a little stay stitch all the way down, and you can see it's doing a 3mm stitch line. So I'm just running my fabric along that line, and that's going to be my opening to turn my fabric through. Now what you need to do is you need to do the same on this side. Oh, I don't have my bobbin thread, I don't think. What happened to my bobbin thread? I lost my bobbin thread because it hasn't stitched. Oh yes, it has. It was just such a good colour match I couldn't see it. Now I'm going to be putting right side to right side, and so I want to do an opening into the same place that I've done the previous opening. So you could put a pin because it's actually extremely hard to see on there. And I'm just going to go from here, close the door or it won't let me work it, and you'll be able to see it on this side. So run it down, there's my mark, here's my fabric running down here, and you can see it's doing a nice little narrow seam. So I will not be stitching this part when I sew these together. Do not run over pins, and you don't need to lock off. Okay, foot lifts up. Now you're putting the right side together. So there we go. So if I go into my settings there and I go to straight sew zigzag, you can see here you've got a picture of, what did I do with my pointer? One moment while I just try and find, how could I lose something that fast? Oh well, it's going to be my finger. So you can see here you've got a number 4. If I touch that, the machine will automatically knot off at the beginning of my work, and I don't need to use that other function that I showed you. And when I come into here, I can also ask it to knot and cut my fabric and lift my foot up when I use pattern end. When I go to the next page, when I push the scissor down here, I can ask it to knot and then cut. So now when I get to the end, I can just push the scissors and it was automatically knot for me. So you've got so many wonderful functions, and this is just lifting my foot up. We're not using that one today. Okay, so now I can start sewing. It's knotting at the beginning because I've asked it to. And now I don't have to touch any of those other functions. And when I come down here, Instead of having to touch anything else, I now do that, and my scissor will knot and cut off. So now my machine is set for what I want, how I want to sew today. Alright, so I'll do the same thing here. Just start sewing. It's going to knot off, then it's going to stitch down, and when I get to the end, and it's all done, I'm not doing anything. So for this one, I'm just going to start from here, but I'm going to stop where my stay stitching is. So it's going to lock off, it's going to sew forward. When I get to here, I'm going to push my scissor, it's going to lock off and cut and lift my foot up. Then I'm going to jump over to here, it's going to lock off. When I sew to the end, whoops, I've gone a bit crooked there. One moment, I'll just fix that up. My foot's way over here. Start that again. Put your foot on the edge of your fabric, that's better. Lock off. And when it gets down here, just push your scissor and it will do everything for you. Now I have finished the inner, I just need to go across the ends. So remember, one way, one the other, and sew across those ends. So it's just putting your raw edges together. Yeah. And I have got it all set, so I don't need to do anything else. It's going to knot. It's going to sew across. I'm going to push my scissor, and I'm done. Wait for the foot to lift up. The other end. So one way and one the other. Very, very quick to make these and a really lovely gift. Knot. Right, so now I've got my inner and my outer. So my outer goes inside my inner. Match up your side seams. You can have one way and one the other. Take your sew table off just by pushing this button and sliding the sew table off. And just put a clip in there. Now you've got this nice free arm to work with. And a clip in there. And now you simply just sew right round in a circle with a 1/4 inch seam. So remember, it's going to knot off, and we're just going to go all the way around in a circle. You'll notice my needle stops down in the work every time I stop. So when I sew along here, over that bolt, when I sew, the needle's stopping down. That is because on the screen I have asked the needle to stop down. So that's needle down. If I push it and I sew along, my needle will stop up. And I don't want that, I want it to stop down. Then nothing moves when I rearrange my fabric. Oh, I just scissor and it cuts and lifts my foot up. Okay, so now I find my opening and I push everything through my opening. And I have my stay stitching. So when I go just like this, and I put my fabric together, there is no tucks, no pleats, anything, because of the way that I've done it and stay stitched it. So now I just simply put a clip in there to hold that. And I like to take this foot off and I like to use my number 10 foot, which is my edge stitch foot. And I'm going to clip these little threads, and I'm going to put the needle position 2 clicks to the left, and I'm going to close that opening up. I'm not going to hand stitch an opening on a pouch. So I just put my number 10 edge stitch foot there, get out of here and use this button. So I'm just going to do 1, 2 clicks to the left, and it's still going to lock off at the beginning. And now I just run it along till I get to the other end, and it's up here somewhere. And remember, all I have to do is push the scissor and it's locked it off. Alright, lift it up. You end up with these tiny little threads that you can just clip off. They're about 1 centimetre long. That one was where I begun, so those are longer, but when it cuts, the machine leaves you with 1 centimetre. Now I simply roll this inside. So this is my outer and my inner, and if you just wet your fingers with some water, or do what I do, and then you can simply roll the top. And what you can do is you can get your hem, which is wonderful because this will fit in there nicely. So I can just roll it and go like that and get my little iron, which is handy having a little crafty iron, and just roll it around. Get all your raw edges all inside, and you just roll it around so that you are getting a nice soft edge here, because the inside is going to roll back and be the feature in a minute. So you want this nice and even, because it's actually you're going to see it. There is no other way of doing this politely. You just have to lick your fingers. It just works. And it's really quite gratifying using up stash in your sewing room for something that's going to be super, super useful, and so much better than having everything on your bench and untidy. So this is interesting. So you've got to think about this. When you're going to be top stitching this one, you have to realise that the inside is going to be the right side. So this is the right side now, but when it comes down like this, this is going to be showing. So if you want it perfect, turn it through to the wrong side and edge stitch onto the wrong side, because that is actually going to be the right side. That's not confusing at all. So now you just put your machine with your bar running up against the edge, and I think I'll go 1 click over, and this time I'm top stitching. So when I top stitch, I do a longer stitch. So I go out to at least 3, sometimes 3.5, sometimes 4. So let's go to 3.5 today. And now I'm just going to edge stitch all the way around here. So it's locked off, and I just keep my fabric against that bar. Very easy. Go over the big lump. So I'm trying to keep on the side here so you can see that nice and clearly. And then remember, here's where I started, and it's locked off. So when I get to the other end, I'm just going to go past where I started and let the machine do all the work. And you are finished. So now you just clip those little tiny threads there, and my thread from where I started, and turn this to the right side. Now the only thing you need to do now is to get the centre back seam, put a pin in there, and what I did is I decided instead of a ribbon, I've made myself a little hanger out of the matching fabric. So I'm just going to thread this through this particular hanger, put my knot up through there and hang it. Now, one side of this has got a little lip on it, so that's going to be the inside, and this one is going to be the outside. So what you do is you just pop this over your fabric, so your whole bag has gone through. Put the pin so you've got your centre back there, and what I do, if you want to know, to get it perfect, just pin that onto there so you know it's not going to move. Then bring this all the way around with a good inch over. See, it's already moved, so there you go, about an inch over like that. And then this has to fit in. So what you want to do is you want to undo your screw so it's going to fit in nice and easily, and it's expanding that out. And then when you pop this in, all you have to do is tighten it. So pop this in with the ridge side at the top, give it a little push like that, and then take your pin out and tighten up your little screw, and you've got a fantastic little hanging pouch. So you can pull this out and get it all nice and even, but actually that looks really good with that. So this one here is going to have my pens, my sewing gauges, my point turner, my seam flattener. Oh, there it is, look. There it is. Now I wouldn't put that in there because I would never be able to find it. It actually goes on the side of the machine. And I'll just see if I can hang it up here to show you. There we go. So that's going to hang really nicely, and I can see what's in my little pouch. So there you go. Thought that was quite cute. Now I'm just going to move this aside because I want to show you something I've made. Oops, move the machine. So last month I was teaching you all about Pauline Quilter's World's templates, and so I thought I needed to make something to keep them in so that everything's there when I need it and when I want to teach a class. And so this, I have used her templates and I've used her quilting things. I've used everything of hers and tried to make a bag out of it. So what I did first was I put PQW for Pauline Quilter's World, and I've done a little design on there. I've used some of her designs to do some quilting around the edge of my bag. I've used her templates to make my prairie points, and I have written on here what I have of hers, so my sashing tools have been used. I've done all sorts of things. So how this bag works is you just simply have your zip opening from front to back, and I've made these side bits so that when it opens up, this is going to sit flat. So this depth I have measured to make it sit flat, and then I've got a piece of Velcro that goes like that, and in here I have my quilting templates. So what I did for each one, I'll show you here. So this is what I showed you last month. I drew my templates on, then I quilted my templates, and I decided each template set, it's got A, B, C, D, E, F. So I have bound them, put a zip in the top, and on the back I've done a mesh so that when you open this up you can see you have got your ideas of how to do it, and each set is labelled and it's got the templates that correspond with it. So it just means when I go to find them I know exactly what is in my pouches, and I decided that I would make a bag. So I've used my Bernina fabric, and I'm joining them, and I didn't know what I was doing when I decided to do it, so I decided I'm joining them, and then when I go to knead them, this one will have another one here, I can just simply go over and see what's in my pouch. So when the Velcro is on, it's going to hold everything together like this. So I can just come over and go, oh, there's set C, I want that. Nope, there's set F, that's the one I want. And on the ends, I have made a pouch here, and these are my sashing templates. And the book, however, I'm going to make another one of these for the book with a clear glass. That goes in there. And there's my templates that I can choose. And then at this end, I've got another pouch. And this one, I've got all my pencils and my glues in it. And my pens. So that's just a fun idea that you can do to store things. So you could make them for anything. So this one is going to end up on the end of this one, and it will be another one, and I've got more to do, obviously. So this idea for the bag, I kind of took it from my Bernina bag I made. And so after you've made one of those bags, you just think of ways that you can utilize it for your everyday use. And this will be really handy for my everyday use. So just fold it up, zip it all up, and you have got a bag. I wouldn't make a white bag normally, but I just loved the red and white with the Bernina fabric, and I thought it was a bit of fun. So it'll probably get quite a few washes. If you're interested in making any sort of bags like this, we do all the Bernina classes on a Wednesday afternoon, and it's 1 till 3:30, and you can come and make any of the Bernina patterns up, or you could come and do something like this. So I just wanted to quickly show you that because I think it's a little bit of fun. Now, as soon as we come back, I'm going to just very quickly touch on felting. However, I do have an in-depth video that I did last year, but I'm just going to touch on a couple of things just to refresh your memory on the felting. So I will see you soon.